President Biden spoke this morning, assuring both customers and taxpayers alike in the wake of the SVB and Signature Bank collapses. Yahoo Finance contributor Kevin Cirilli joins us now for the latest from Capitol Hill. Kevin.
Well, lawmakers are waking up to the reality that banking regulation is going to be front and center this week as lawmakers return from their recess. Now, it all started yesterday with the joint regulatory statement that came out from Treasury, the Federal Reserve, and FDIC saying, quote, depositors will have access to all of their money. No losses associated with the resolution of Silicon Valley Bank will be borne by the taxpayer. The U.S. banking system remains resilient and on a solid foundation, in large part due to reforms that were made after the financial crisis that ensured better safeguards for the banking industry. President Biden, speaking earlier this morning at the White House, had this to say.
All customers who had deposits in these banks can rest assured, they'll be protected and they'll have access to their money as of today. That includes small businesses across the country that bank there and need to make payroll, pay their bills, and stay open for business. No losses will be, and this is an important point, no losses will be borne by the taxpayers.
Now, President Biden also went on to say that the executives of the bank should be fired. He said that investors who lost money in the fallout will not be able to recoup their losses. He said, quote, that's the way capitalism works, end quote. And already here in Washington, you're seeing Democrats and Republicans begin to have a financial regulatory debate. President Biden criticizing Republicans in his remarks about rolling back Dodd-Frank regulations. Senator Elizabeth Warren out with an op-ed in the New York Times saying that Republicans should not be advocating to lower capital requirements from banks that the Trump administration had walked back. Republicans that I've spoken with, including one member of the Financial Services Committee earlier this morning, are saying that this raises new questions specifically about which type of regulations community-style banks should be privy to. But all of this, again, as Washington still at just the beginning of what was sure to be a lot of scrutiny over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, most definitely. And the rollback that you mentioned happened under President Trump in 2018. It was bipartisan, by the way. There were Democrats who signed on to that as well. They said that those regulations were onerous for some of those smaller and community banks. I mean, we don't have the counterfactual, right? We don't know if this would have happened had those regulations been in place. But is there any real discussion of now? I mean, it sounds like that they're at the margins. They're talking about maybe rolling back the rollback. But I mean, what would even be the timeline on this? The House isn't even in session now, right?
No, they're not even in session. And Julie, I can tell you that you're absolutely correct. Republicans were able to get some centrist Democrats on board for some of those walkbacks of Dodd-Frank. So for President Biden to specifically target Dodd-Frank and to have that fight is clearly a progressive populist pitch. It's something that the left wing of his party will definitely like, but it remains to be seen specifically if he will be able to garner some of the more centrist support on that. Look, they're heading into a new election cycle, but a Dodd-Frank debate is something that, according to the president's remarks earlier this morning at the White House, is the debate that he wants to have.
Good old-fashioned Dodd-Frank debate. Thanks so much, Kevin. Great to see you there in D.C.
Great to see you.